Hi, I'm Sean,
Hi, and I'm Shannon.
and we're the host of Wifey and Baby Mama. Happy Thursday, family, and happy Thursday, baby mama.
Happy Thursday.
Welcome back, my peeps. Welcome back to our
Mhm.
11th episode. We are on the countdown to the season finale. We only have 4 weeks left before the season ends, and we are heading to a new
Wow.
year. I know you guys don't
Yes.
understand how much we appreciate you hanging in there with us as the holiday approaches.
Mhm.
Shannon, we are so lucky as unlisted hosts or non celebrities just starting out,
Yes.
that people show up
Yeah,
for the way, they show up. It's
they
wonderful.
do.
And we
They
appreciate you.
do.
We pray you've
Yeah.
enjoyed our shift this season to include more love and relationship issues and blended families and otherwise. And tonight's topic is no different. It's mending the two. Episode 11 is titled You Left, Now What? And that will cover, kind of the flip side of last week's topic from nagging to nothing, where we talked about how partners plead with the other one to meet their needs, help them feel loved and all those other things you shouldn't have to ask someone, Shannon, to do, right? But
Right.
if they're
Right.
really into you, it comes naturally. But,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be whole and happy, sometimes you make an unhealthy amount of attempts to have them treat you the way that you
Yeah.
deserve, hoping
Yes.
they'll get it
Yes.
right until finally you just give up, realizing for whatever reason they are unable or unwilling to meet your needs. So you move on to
Mm-hmm.
what serves you. Well, tonight
Yeah.
we're going to dive into people who don't bother making those attempts. Or
That
maybe
don't bother.
they're the ones who say, I'm not doing all that. I'm gone, and they just leave.
Mm-hmm.
But when the new partner
Yeah.
comes along, they want to double back, Shannon, and
Mhm.
with their demands and how things should run in the house and how you choose to, you chose to walk out of that house. But because you have kids there, you think that you can come back and lay some rules down. We're gonna get into the flip side of last week's episode. I know what I'm gonna say is gonna shock some of you to the core. But guess who can't relate tonight? Guess who have no personal point of view? Drama Queen Sean, okay? The relationship disaster master dodged this one, okay? Shannon, I got nothing. But y'all know now, I'm going to get my 2 cents.
Right.
I have
Right. Right.
150 siblings, cousins, nieces, nephews, and a host of friends and family, as obituaries say. So
Mhm.
I'll have some
Mhm.
intel for you, just not my own, if you can believe it.
Wow. Well, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Now, Shannon, I remember you saying about last week's topic that you would have to ask your siblings, after a counseling session, with them or whatever, what did you learn from this, or whatever. And
Mhm.
they would say, I learned not to mess with no good. It just and you say, so you really learned nothing at all. Well, in this
Right.
case, that's what I learned. I'm going to have to come back with some stuff I learned from my siblings, you know what I'm saying, and some breakups. Because sometimes it's hard for us to see when we're in it, right? Well, that's the
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
input I have for you guys tonight. What I saw from the outside looking in. Because again, the relationship disaster master disaster girl is not in this one tonight. But I have experienced it with a few female friends, family members, Shannon, but mostly with the
Mhm.
males. I mostly have recollection of them when it comes to you left, not what.
Mhm.
Not all, but most males in my family, especially at younger ages, were famous for walking out, not wanting to man
Mm.
up, or step
Yeah.
up and stop running, the streets, basically, to raise their families. And they just leave the girl and the kids and go
Right.
live their best life, baby, okay? Half
Mhm.
visiting, half supporting, not
Mhm.
giving money, not showing up at doctor's appointments, just being
Yeah.
irresponsible. And what happens?
Yeah.
Eventually, those females stop crying. They bossed up,
Right.
which is
Yep.
always my advice, baby. Even when I was younger, I would tell them girls, girl, bye. You better leave him. You better move on. Stop all that crying and go do what you got to do. And that's just what we should tell each other as women. Sitting there moping around ain't going to change a thing,
Mm.
you know? But anyways,
Yeah.
they eventually got it together. And honey, they went and found them a new man, a new stepdad, father figure, whatever,
Mhm.
wearing the matching pajamas, at Christmas, sitting at church with her, all the stuff that was begging the other dude to do, right? The
Mhm.
whole 9 yards.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now here they come back hating. Mm, Don't have that
Right.
ninja around my kids. He better not be at the
Right.
house after 9 o'clock. He better
Mhm.
not cut my son hair.
Yeah, yeah.
And the females, the same thing. Don't have that such and such touching my baby hair, feeding
Mm,
my child, whatever. But listen,
right, right.
when you leave, Shannon, all those rules, they leave with you, baby.
That's right. That's right. And Sean, I know you've seen too um where they've left and they were taking care of somebody else's kids, you know. So the impact that
Girl.
that has on their children,
Oh, absolutely.
we still deal with this today in my marriage with my husband, his grown children, still have an
Hmm.
issue with him leave. Well, I mean, they got divorced. It wasn't just running or anything like that. But the fact that when I think when they needed him the most, because of the issue or whatever he had going on, he's like, okay, I've moved on and now I'm taking care of somebody else. But then he come back and have problems with, the new dude in the picture as well. It's like you can't have it both
Oh,
ways.
that's
You
right. That's
cannot
right.
have these other people or these other kids that you're quote unquote claiming as your own because guys will do it the same way women will do it. They're trying to get in with the new person, and so they act like they love these other people's children so much. And I wasn't there with him, so I don't know if he really did care for this other woman's children. But
Right.
for the most part, we see that they really don't, because they'll walk away from those kids the same way they walked away from their own. So for people to get caught up in that. And it has such an impact on, your biological children. And it takes a lot of time to heal and talking through things and um, getting past stuff. And, I've talked about this before. Once you get a certain age, um, if you can't get past it, don't leave it on that biological parent. I
That's
think
right.
once you're over 30 and you're still acting like you're 8, it's like you're gonna bring your own self down, you know,
We
constantly
we talk
blaming this. Yeah.
we talk to my younger siblings about that all the time because
Mm,
all of our parents are gone, and
yeah.
I tell them, I can't say we, I tell them, I get it, it's a hard place to be in, but
Mm,
at some point you have to stand on your own 2 feet. Yeah, we
that's
had a hard
right.
life, yeah, mom kind of was out there. Yeah, dad's wasn't around all the time. But hey, you know what?
Mhm.
We all come from the same environment. At some point you
Yeah.
got to be responsible for your own actions. But
Mhm.
I totally get that. But I want to go back to something you said about, that it was a mutual divorce, like they left, he didn't just leave, they agreed to divorce, whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
I also want to talk about how this applies, and this doesn't apply either to parents who break up sensibly, even if it isn't a divorce or hard feelings. Parents who
Mm,
break up sensibly and work out schedules, and lay out the do's and don'ts like adults. I know we shouldn't have to point out the obvious, but it's in a day and age that we don't assume, right? We got to make this clear. So
that's
we're not
right.
talking about if you come to a sensible agreement and you say, hey, in this agreement, we're both agreeing to separate, divorce, whatever words you choose or whatever have you, however it applies. But I would like Shannon, not to be out after 9 because she's only 14. I would like
Mhm.
Frankie, not to go to an all boys school because I heard a lot of bad things happen in those kind of schools. Whatever, those are just
Mhm.
examples.
Right.
If you
Right.
agree to that, if you agree to that mutually, I'm sorry, if you agree to that mutually, Shannon, and then a new
Mhm.
dude comes in trying to change that, now that's when I think you make an exception. That's when I think the
Yeah.
parent who
Yeah.
stayed, or woman. Now that's when you can buck because if we
Right.
sensibly agree to this, don't let nobody new come in telling me what my child can do. And I'm showing
Mhm.
up and I'm paying my child support and I'm there and I'm present. Now that's where this topic does not apply. Because
That's right.
sometimes, Shannon, we say this a lot. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes
It
things doesn't
doesn't.
work.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Yeah.
love my husband with everything inside of me. I have since I was 19. Regardless of the other baby daddies and the other relationships, the
Mhm.
many other in between,
Mhm.
whatever, I love him. And I will do
Right.
anything to make this work. But I can't tell you that I can guarantee you we'll be married 5, 10, 20 years from now. Sometimes things
Right.
just doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
pray
Yeah.
that we are. I hope that we are. Because again, I don't have the bandwidth to hold another one. But again, if he and I sensibly sit down and this is what it is, That's when this does not
Mhm.
apply. So, people, again, we shouldn't have to point out the obvious, but Shannon and I are not professional doctors. We're not psychiatrists. We have no schooling in this. I don't want to mislead anyone. We simply
Right.
want to give you our experiences and what we've learned growing pains. That's all we want to give you. Now,
Yeah.
so if by all means, that's what we that's what we encourage here on Wife and Baby Mama. Do trial and error.
Mhm.
Get professional help. Get professional counsel. We both have.
Yes.
Whatever you
Yes.
need to do. But again, our
Mhm.
experiences is what we lead the show off of, and it's simply that. But if you leave out and stomp out like a child, Shannon, if you leave it to a grown person, another grown person that's to pick up and carry on and figure it out, it is what it is. I will say
Mhm.
I haven't dealt with any negativity with this situation, but I'll just re-say this with my ex-husband. I think I've said it before. I recap it. He left without notice, Shannon, because he was hurt.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
didn't sit down with me and discuss the proper way we'd rear the girls or split responsibilities or school and tuition because he thought if he just left me high and dry, I'd fold, you know? But baby, I'm built for it tough, honey. So I kept right on rocking. It hurt,
Yeah.
but it had
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
done. You read the book. I
Mhm.
cry in the shower, baby. I put my cape on. I come
Mhm.
out with my S on my chest. I figure it out.
That's
But
right.
when he
That's right.
realized how it was messed up the way that he left, he did come back and say, "Hey, his parents, what can I do to help? What do you need for a month? How can I help you?" And went smoothly from there. So, we got to
Mhm.
give people grace. In pain, sometimes, Shannon, we make bad decisions.
But
But it
that's the
wasn't the
truth.
case. Yeah, but it wasn't the case that
Mhm.
he just left and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna see how she figures." Oh, and I met somebody else who's like, "Oh no, this ain't gonna happen." He did have one little incident, when he figured out Jimmy and I were back together. He says, "So I was right all along." It's like, no. Yes, I still had feelings for him, but no, I wasn't, involved with him in any way. You know that. I would lived with you.
Mhm.
I didn't see him. He said, "But you went back to
Right.
him." I'm like, "That's just the way fate would have it." And he did say one time,
Yeah.
"Well, he better
Yeah.
not touch my daughter. He can touch the other two." And I said, "You left my boy. He don't get to make those calls. If she acting up with the mother kids, she gonna get smoked with the mother too, because we
Mhm.
believe in it." And that was, a quick little conversation. But girl, you had to set Jimmy on fire before he touched them kids. he ain't gonna touch the little girl. Now Frank be having a hard way to go,
Oh,
but he ain't gonna
yeah.
do nothing to
Boys are
the. He gonna,
different. Yeah.
ooh, honey,
Yeah.
but he ain't gonna do nothing to them little
Mhm.
girls. But
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much everything I had real life. Do you have another real
Mm.
life topic? Because now I want to discuss a video, Shannon. I saw really quick. I think we
Yeah.
saw it together and we discussed it. Do you have any more real life
We
examples or
did.
discussions that you would like to bring on tonight's topic?
No. Yeah, let's get to the video. Well, yeah, let's get to the video or the excerpt from one of my
The
favorite
video.
shows.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this video is from I think it was a couple of years ago. Could have been last year. Y'all know it all run
No, it
together
was
because I be doing
this
too much.
current season. Yeah, I think it's the current
It was this
season.
current series,
The current
the
season of
video,
yeah,
a wife and
it was
baby mama.
split.
So
It
yeah,
was
so it's a few months ago.
from Huntsville. Hmm. Earlier this
Wait a
year, I
minute.
believe.
Let me ask you this. That video was from an actual show, Shannon?
Oh yeah.
That we're
Yeah, yeah,
talking.
yeah.
I did not know.
Oh, you don't watch that show.
No, I just thought it was
I
a
thought
video. Are you kidding me,
no.
Shannon? So it's
I
from
am
something
not
you
kidding
actually
you.
watch? This is like real
Yes,
people?
yes. I used them the other week, I think, as one of my
I know
fictional
that you use
families, but
them, but
they weren't fictional, but yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, let's get into it.
so this guy, so it was a dad. Okay, so I didn't know it was a real
Mhm.
show. Cause listen, y'all, and please
Yeah.
forgive me. I've been making movies and stuff, y'all. I don't get to watch TV. I don't get to do
Right,
anything. I like
right.
the Detroit one. I didn't realize. So that's the Huntsville one?
Yes, that's the Huntsville one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a dad discussing how he feels about the mother improperly influencing the kids because they told him like they felt some kind of way that he left them. And he's like, I think
Mhm.
the mother's encouraging them. She's putting words in their mouth. And the guy counseling the kids is like, how old are these kids? He's like, no, she doesn't have to put words. Kids are impressionable, Kids can see, they can
Yes.
feel. Their mother
Mhm.
didn't tell you to leave. You chose to leave. And
That's right.
he was like, no, that's their feelings. And he said, and that dude
Mhm.
is a bit delusional. Now that part took me
Mm,
out. And he was right.
I know.
See, what you can't do, ladies and gentlemen, you can't leave a situation because you feel that's what's best for you. then expect the other parent to cushion or cover the kids' feelings towards you because of your decision. That's on you. Now, Shannon,
That's
you
on
tell me,
you.
since you watch it, what's your
Yeah.
take on it?
Oh, I totally agree. When he was speaking, and typically for uh oh no, the guy, the smart dude in the situation, his
The
name is
counselor.
escaping me right now. That's a friend, and then normally I'm normally against everything he does on the show and everything he says on the show. But he was on point. Um, letting him know you can't expect. He not only did he leave, he left the state. He moved from Huntsville to Atlanta. He was nowhere around, nowhere near. And then once his wife, because actually they're still married, and if you have to watch the show to see, but they're not even divorced yet. But
They're just
um,
legally separated.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
And
Okay.
but when she moved on and uh has been dating a guy that has become a father figure to his children and is giving his kids everything he needs, to where his own daughter says, I want this guy to be my dad. And he gets mad at the wife or the ex-wife or whatever she's going to be. I totally thought that was ridiculous, stance he was trying to make. And for him to be called out on that and pretty much told, "You're an idiot
Yeah, he
if you
did say that.
think." Yes, you're a complete idiot if you want your children to live with someone else that they can't turn to, they can't lean on. You want, this new dude to ignore your kids, especially that line where he said, if she comes home crying, do you want him to give her a hug? And the
He said
guy,
no.
he said no.
Like, what is wrong with this dude? Let me tell you something. As much as Chris kind of like despised Jimmy and I get back together because he's like, man, that is kind of a bad feeling, I guess. Like she actually left me and went back to her ex-husband. That is kind of messed up. So I see where he's
Mhm.
coming from on that, but he doesn't behave
Right.
that way. And
Right.
JJ loves Jimmy's dirt off the boots as much as I do, okay? And
Yeah.
Chris is okay
Yeah.
with that because he realizes
Right.
that he loves Jay Brown just as much as he does. So when we
Mm.
have punishment issues, when we have tuition, she recently had her braces put on. We all sit down and say, okay, how much who got what?
Mm.
Oh, the dad's like, I got this much. Jimmy's like, I got this much. I'm like, okay, I got this much. Like, that's what we
Mhm.
do. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever the
Right.
insurance didn't cover, guess what? We had to cover. And we didn't say, he didn't say, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want him paying for my daughter's braces. Like, what? Like, that's so freaking the word, delusional. That's the word. Like, dude is
Mhm.
out. He's out of his
Delusional.
mind.
Mhm.
So I
Yep.
totally, when I saw that, I'm like, this is so far fetched because that would be like I just said, my ex-husband saying, "Well, I don't want him deciding what color her prom dress is going to be." Excuse me, he's taking her to the store to buy it because you're in another state, sir.
Mhm.
Like what is
Yeah,
really going
yeah.
on? So I'm so happy I
Yeah.
don't have to deal with that. I'm so happy I can't relate to tonight's topic. You guys don't know how refreshing this is. It
Right. Yeah.
is
And
really
and
refreshing.
I mean, and I never had to deal with it either for, obvious reasons.
Personally, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Because I'm the bomb stepmom. So yeah,
yeah.
thanks. No, just kidding.
Yes, never had to deal with any of that drama. And even on the flip side, I don't think Jimmy ever, never once did he say, who's around my son, you know.
Right.
The
That's
only
right.
time, Jimmy ever had an issue with my parenting was, because Jay was sick most of his life, in and out of the hospital, Buffalo
Right.
Children's Hospital, Duke University Hospital, and all that. So there were issues that came up, over the years around, what are you doing wrong? And I'm like, he was born this way. I didn't do this to
Exactly.
him. So we would have just a little bit of conflict there, but nothing about, oh, what guy do you have around my son? Who and who do you have him calling? daddy, which I never did,
Right.
I would have never, based on my own experience being forced to call another man dad,
Yeah,
I
we
would
had that on
never
a
do that.
previous
Yep.
episode. We wouldn't do that.
Mhm.
And even like JJ, as
Wouldn't do
much as
that.
she loves her biological father, oh, and she
Mhm.
adores that man. It was her
Yeah.
choice to call Jimmy dad because of the love
See?
he showed her.
Mhm.
She just said,
Exactly.
"I can call him dad." I'm like, "Well,
Exactly.
that's up to you, baby." I said,
Mhm.
"Well, ask it."
Mhm.
And you know him, he ain't gonna
Mhm.
turn no girl, no child down. That boy loves him. He's an adorable father.
Yeah.
He's a great parent,
Yeah.
a great uncle. He's a great godfather. Jim's just a great now, man. We had to work on that part, but when it comes to them babies, he knew how to take care of the kids,
Right.
honey. So she received that, and I'm
Exactly.
so happy that
Mhm.
we, as a whole, didn't experience that even in our blend. It was
Mhm.
wonderful for us. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was the that was mind-boggling. I can't believe that's a real
Mhm.
story, but so that's all I have on the topic itself, Shannon. Do you have anything else to bring?
Mhm. No, I don't.
All right, family. Well, we'll wrap up with this real sweet, real simple. You know, if it's your decision to leave a relationship for whatever reason, you are by all means free to do so. But please keep
Mhm.
in mind, once you do, you no longer get to decide what's best for that household you left behind. Of course, that
Mhm.
negates any abuse, maltreatment, things of that nature.
Mhm.
Again, I know these are things we shouldn't have to say, but we like to make it real clear.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
as long as that parent that is left to stay and deal with the home is raising a healthy whole child or children, if it's more than one, and making sound financial decisions, your right to make the demands or call the shots left right when you did.
Mhm. Right. I totally agree. Amen
So,
and amen.
all right, on to the next segment.
All right, here you go, girl.
We've come to our sweet little lie segment, and tonight's sweet little lie comes from a woman who faked an illness to avoid dating someone she actually liked, but she was hoping and waiting to see if she could end things with her ex-husband. So she wrote, and I quote, "I knew the guy liked me and was really into me, so I faked ill so he could hang around and help me out without the
Ooh.
romantic factor coming into play, in hopes that my husband would feel the need to step in because we've been together for so long and he would sympathize with me. Well, not so. My ex husband moved on in spite of and married someone else. I decided
Mm.
at that point to tell the other guy we might as well give it another try, give it a romantic try, only to find
Mm.
out he'd been dating someone else for the last 3 months because I told him my illness wouldn't allow me to date. That lie cost me someone who genuinely wanted me, and I lost that opportunity chasing what had been." Wow,
Wow. Wow.
that's deep. That's
That's
deep.
very deep. That's very deep.
Hmm. I ain't got
Ooh,
nothing else.
faking an illness.
Yep, she faked the illness, hoping that would get. Ain't that crazy? I mean,
Wow,
I can't
that's
say it's crazy.
crazy.
The things we do for love, though. So we're not here to judge you.
Mm.
I'm just telling you, listening to the outcome of her story. The only thing I'm going to say is this to a general audience, to a broad base. Let the
Mhm.
past be that. What's meant to be
Yeah,
will be. We don't have to
right.
manipulate it. We don't have to trick it. None of that. What's
Mhm.
meant to be will be.
Mhm.
And I know that firsthand. And I know you guys know that from
Yeah,
listening to the show. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Like you say, what's meant to be will be, and we uh have heard so many times when people say, "Oh, they're an X for a reason. They're an X for a reason." Sometimes they're not an X for a reason, or
sometimes,
not for a
Shannon,
reason that's permanent. You know,
sometimes
it's
our timing is wrong, Shannon.
mhm,
Sometimes their exes
exactly.
because
Yep.
something else needs to happen in between.
Mhm.
And I
Yep.
like to say this, and I'm not kidding. I think my two daughters in between were vessels. They were supposed to be on this earth. I was supposed to
Mm.
be their mom. But
Yeah.
because Jimmy was in his situation where he was, they had to get here
Mhm.
somehow. you know?
Right.
So I believe in all of that. My two children were the purpose in
Yeah.
those relationships in between
Mhm.
because they bring so much joy and so much light. And my whole puzzle was complete
Yeah.
with all four of my
Yeah.
babies. So whatever the
Yeah.
reason is, what's meant to be will find its way back.
That's
So
right.
you're right. Not right now. Everybody ain't
Mhm.
X for a reason. And I'm not just saying that because of my situation, because sometimes X's are X's for a reason. So you got to gauge that thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to know when to blow the bridge up. They say, "Oh, don't burn bridges." No, sometimes you need to
Sometimes
blow
you
it
got to
up.
blow that joint up. Full grenade, full dynamite.
Right.
All right. So
Uh,
if you have a
um,
sweet little lie that you would like to get off your chest, and listen, we're not making fun of any situations here because
mhm.
these things are very personal. So, but
Yeah,
we know we
yeah,
just do have to let you guys know, like we have to just come out of the seriousness of it because that's not what this is. We share it, we
yeah,
move
yeah.
on, and that's what it is.
Mhm.
But if you have a
Yeah.
sweet little lie that you like to get off of your chest, you're welcome to email us at wifeyandbabymama@gmail.com. And that's wifeyandbabymama@gmail.com.
All right. Here we go now to our last segment of the night, and it is the fictional family that I feel fire forget. And the fictional family I'm using, or the sitcom that I'm using for this today, is it aired for about 2 years. It's called Splitting Up Together. So it's kind of like the flip side of what we were talking about tonight, where this couple, played by Jenna Fisher and Oliver Hudson, is Lena and Martin. They had 3 kids. Their marriage wasn't working, and they decided to divorce. Um, but in doing so, they did this thing called nesting. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, Sean, where the two divorced the people still keep the same house for the kids, and then they
Absolutely.
rotate
I've
who's
heard
in
of
the
it.
house. Okay, yes.
Mhm.
So that's what they decided to do, and in doing so, um, of course, they had to witness each other dating because one would come in one week. I think they did it one week on, 1 week off. One parent was in the house with the kids, and then the other one was in the garage attached to the house, so they still weren't far from the kids. Um,
Okay.
and so, in doing so, they had some insight into whoever each partner was dating, and that stirred up a lot of feelings. Um, and eventually, it made their marriage, I guess, come back together because they realized, hey, I really don't want to see you dating, or I don't want to see other people around my kids. I
Right.
don't want to see your boyfriend. I want to see your girlfriend or whatever. And it helped them appreciate, what they really had as a family unit
Mhm.
and what it meant for their children is what I, ultimately got out of the show. So, not saying that would work for everyone, but the whole nesting thing and putting the kids first, saying, as grown adults, we brought them here, so let's try to do something to make this work. And for this family, it worked, and they ended up, reconciling. And like I said, the show was only on for a couple of years, but I thought it was very, very good and entertaining. Splitting up together. And so for this fictional family, I'm definitely feeling them. Definitely feeling them because it was unique, and of course, like I said, it probably won't work for everyone, or the majority of folks. It won't work for them, but it worked for them. And not all of this, nesting, these people that do the nesting, they don't typically get back together. But the way this was written, this couple did reconcile, and learn to look at themselves really, truthfully and honestly, and their role in the demise of the marriage by them separating like this. So um
Okay.
that's what I'm feeling about them. What about you, Sean?
Well, just from I'll be like the audience maybe of people that I've never saw it. So if I'm just hearing this from the
Yeah.
first time from your description, I'm going to feel them
All
because
right.
in my situation with a 6-year-old son and Jimmy and I
Mhm.
being of age, that would
Mhm.
definitely be a thing for me if God forbid this were
Right.
to ever this situation would
Right.
ever demise or go, we had to go our separate
Mhm.
ways, because I would never want my son to feel that. I would never want him to feel that. So as adults, like you said, we created this situation. We got
Mm.
married and had a kid at 100 years old. So now why now now we're gonna break up his environment too. So I definitely
Right.
would feel that,
Yeah.
because that would be something I would definitely consider if it ever
Mhm.
came to that. So I think that's wonderful. I think it's a great. So I would definitely feel them.
All right. Love it. Splitting up together.
I've never
Wish
heard
it
of
would have
that.
stayed on. Yeah, it was
I
only
know
on, I think,
it sounds like it was pretty
a couple of
good. I
years.
never saw that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, that is it for our show tonight. And for those around the world, and I did want to call out, which we haven't done in a while, call out some of the new countries. And of course, I won't get to all of them, but I'm just going to call out a few as we
No, we can do them
say
all on our last
goodnight.
episode. As we do our
Yeah,
last
but
episode, we'll get a full run out for you guys.
yeah, but a couple of new ones that are interesting to me are Morocco. I'm like, oh my gosh. So,
Okay.
yes, Italy and Poland and um, uh, Saudi Arabia. So,
Wow.
yeah, just a couple I wanted to call out, or a few I wanted to call out. But we thank you all for tuning in and listening around the
Welcome.
globe. We are so very grateful to our audience, and for those who write in, to those who critique, for those who love, hate, whatever you feel, we welcome it all.
Well, yep. We need it
And
all.
mhm, and we look forward to next week. So have a good week, all.
Bye.